Shouldn't be this hard to pay your rent or ever believe you could own a home.
When billionaires and corporations are spending millions to tear you down, you're on the brink of victory.
The entire electoral system has become consumed by big money.
What does it mean to you, Will, to be a working families candidate?
It means to stand with working families and to have the back of other candidates around the country and around the state like you.
Working Families Party has been about trying to offer an alternative to a system that's been rigged by corporations on both sides of the aisle to actually put people back in the center of our politics. And this campaign has been about what it could look like for our politics to center people.
What this election is also about is an understanding that all across our country, from California to New York and every place in between, working families are standing up and they're saying, enough is enough.
This is our America to declare a brighter future for. Because the next 250 is for us and our making, of the people, by the people, and for the people.
And thank you all very much. We make sure that Abdul El-Sayed is the next U.S. Senator from Michigan and Will Lawrence is the next Congressman.
Hello and good evening. Good evening. If you're watching, then you believe, like I believe, in freedom and you're willing to fight for it. And for that, I am so grateful for you. My name is Maurice Mitchell. I'm the National Director of the Working Families Party. Now, maybe you've joined a Working Families Party call before. Maybe you haven't. But if this is your first time joining us, the Working Families Party is a party for working class people of every background. We're teachers, we're nurses, we're delivery workers, and we believe that in the richest country on earth, every person should have health care that they could count on, childcare they could afford, and a home to call their own. And we were so proud to be part of the earthquake that happened in Michigan this past week, where WFP candidates went up against some of the wealthiest people on the planet who spent billions to stop the people-led movement we're seeing rise up all across this country. But before we go any further, I want to introduce my co-host, Amira Sequeira.
Hello, good people. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. My name is Amira Sequeira. I'm the Director of Federal Affairs at the Working Families Party, and I am really excited for the call that we have planned tonight. Our shared victory last Tuesday in Michigan was historic. And as a movement, I'm really excited to have the opportunity to celebrate that victory together tonight. And even more importantly, we have our work cut out for us in the next 3 months to make sure that we win these critical races in Michigan and across the country in November. And I'm so excited to be in this work with all of you and in this moment, getting ready for this fight ahead for the next 3 months. So Mo, you and I, we were both in Michigan. We were in Detroit, we were in Lansing, we were in Grand Rapids. We were together traveling across the state, launching canvases, speaking at rallies. It was an electric few days in the lead up to this election. I'm curious, Mo, did you have a moment before the polls closed when you knew that we were going to win this on Tuesday?
Well, from the minute I stepped off the plane and I was on the ground, I felt the energy and I saw all of the grassroots volunteers of all races, of all backgrounds, of every religion coming together, and it felt very special. Now, it's easy to get lost in the roller coaster and watching the 24-hour news channels and seeing the pundits yell at each other, and that could really be kind of confusing. But the thing that I like to remind myself is that I don't think anybody could have predicted this outcome a year ago, not even 6 months ago. Now, where we are today is that grassroots, working families, populists, up and down the ballot are winning in some of the biggest races in the country. And that is truly historic. We are truly on the precipice of history. So let me ask you, I'm just going to turn the question around to you. What was going through your head on Tuesday night?
Oh man, I was mixed, Mo. In the few days before, I started to really feel like we were gonna win this. You know, like the energy on the doors, the energy in communities. There was this excitement to make sure that Abdul would win on Tuesday night, to make sure that Will would win on Tuesday night, to make sure that Donovan would win on Tuesday night. I remember being at this rally and canvas launch for Abdul in Grand Rapids, and I was just amazed at how excited folks were. And I remember going to a strike line with Donovan, and everyone at that strike line was so excited to get out the vote for Donovan. And the canvas operation for Will Lawrence across Lansing was amazing. So I was feeling all this energy, and I really thought we were going to win. And then I got really nervous that I was going to jinx it. You know, like I was like, I can't say this. We can't jinx it. But it was a really good feeling. But Mo, let's get into it. I'm looking at the time because the Republicans that we are going up against in November, they are not waiting to catch their breaths. We have three really exciting guests coming up. Our three candidates who formed our federal slate, our victorious federal slate in the state of Michigan. Mo, I'll turn it back to you to introduce our first guest.
Oh, I have the privilege of introducing a friend. Some call him the data center slayer of mid-Michigan. Some call him the Lansing Lincoln. I get to introduce no other than Will Lawrence. Will, welcome.
Mo, thank you for having me. Thanks, Working Families Party.
Well, it's good to be with you, and sorry if we're dropping that nickname on you, but it is important for folks at home to know that Will is the tallest member of the WP congressional slate this cycle. Will, what do you think? How can we make this Lansing Lincoln nickname stick?
You know, you're going to have to take responsibility for that. I can't speak to that, but if you meme the hell out of it, I won't be mad.
Right.
That's my favorite Republican of all time, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the nickname. I love the nickname. And Will is really tall, and you kind of look like Lincoln, you know, like it's great. I think it works. So Will, more seriously, one of the issues that really animated your campaign in Michigan's 7th District was the issue of data centers. Why do you think that data centers are animating voters across the country this cycle? And what is it that you think people are responding to in these campaigns?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, because you show up and there's so many different things that people talk about that are their concerns. I mean, it's the property values, it's the energy rates, it's the water usage, it's the noise pollution, it's the light pollution, it's all kinds of other stuff. But I think above all, it's about the question of who decides. Because what people are experiencing is, trillion-dollar tech companies led by billion-dollar CEOs coming into small towns often, signing the local officials to non-disclosure agreements. And then they come forward and they say, just trust us, this is a great deal. Don't worry, the utility companies, they've assured us that your rates aren't going to rise. You can trust them. And people say, well, why would we trust any of you? Because you've given us no reason to trust. We've seen that the rates just rise every year, no matter what. So why would that change now? And you signed a non-disclosure agreement. So, and in some cases, they won't even tell you which company is behind the deal. But it's a great deal, just trust us. So I think it's very symbolic, in addition to all the specific issues that are at hand with the data centers themselves and the question of AI. Oh, by the way, if we build this data center, it's going to put 10 million people out of work, maybe. But it's also symbolic of the economic inequality that exists in the country, and the fact that it really makes democracy into kind of a joke. Is this democracy when a couple of billionaires from Silicon Valley can override the will of an entire community in our cities and small towns?
And Will, we have similar backgrounds in the sense that, like you, I left my hometown and I went to college elsewhere. But I returned to my hometown that is now like a purple district. It's a working class, multiracial place with a lot of folks that I love, that I grew up with, that I am in the fight in order to make sure that they could stay and in the communities that they love. And, I got this great opportunity to walk across Lansing. It was like a 12-mile walk.
Yep.
And I was able to hear a lot of stories from a lot of your neighbors and also hear about your connection to your district. And I would love to hear from you about what you love about Mid-Michigan and what makes you excited about its future.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I grew up here. I moved out to the West Coast. I moved back to the East Coast, and then I came back when I was about 26 years old, about 9 years ago. And I love summers in Michigan are beautiful. I mean, the weather is great. We love the water. We love the four seasons. I love cross country skiing in the winter. But it's the people. It's the people. It's my folks are here. The people I grew up with are here, and I love Midwest people. I think Midwest people are very humble and kind and caring, and fun, and the pace of life here is just what I enjoy. It's kind of like the Goldilocks zone. I feel like on the West Coast they got a certain thing going on. On the East Coast, everyone is bustling around, but in the Midwest, I just love it. I love it.
I
Well,
love hearing that.
I got a little taste of that, and I fell in love as well. Amira.
I was just going to say, I've got to spend so much time in Michigan over the course of this cycle, and I'm really excited to spend more time out there with you guys over the next few months. It's a good place with a lot of good people. Um, Will, you had a tremendous volunteer operation. There were so many everyday folks in your district who were so committed to making sure that you won this election, who were canvassing across the district, who were fired up, who were bringing amazing meals into the office so that volunteers had food to eat. It was a really incredible community operation. It was really inspiring to get to be a part of it. Are there any stories from the primary, stories of meeting local folks in the district, meeting voters that really stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so fun. And I'm thank you for recognizing it because, I'm an organizer and, it's never about just one of us. It's always about the movement that we're building and the leadership that we're seeding for all of the bigger battles to come. So the fact that we've been able to build this movement, is already a tremendous accomplishment, although we've definitely got to go win this thing on November 3rd to pay it off. But and reporters have said that they've never seen anything like it in at least 30 years of local politics here in the mid-Michigan area. They've never seen a grassroots movement like it. And I'm thinking about a guy who actually just the other day was on. So he's been around. He hasn't been involved in our campaign, but he's been following the race, and he was kind of connected to one of the Democratic parties, so he was kind of maybe playing it a little neutral. But he kept saying to me, "I've got a story for you after the primary. I got a story for you after the primary." And he would tell me that, okay, so we saw each other on Monday, and he told me the story, or it was Sunday, I guess. And he said, he's maybe 60, and he said, when I was a younger man, I was in my 20s and 30s, and I was very socially awkward, and I struggled to connect with people, and it was very stressful for me to go to work and to do what I needed to do. And every day I would drive to work, I would commute, and I would repeat to myself, I would say, I will win. I will win. I will win. I will win. And he said, and I repeated that to myself millions of times. It was my mantra for years. And it helped me to be more assertive and confident and do what I needed to do in the workplace and in the rest of my life to get where I needed to go and to become more comfortable. And he said, and there's something special happening with your campaign, man, because our slogan is, we will win. And we've said that hundreds of times, thousands of times. And, it's a prophecy. It becomes true. It becomes true. People start to believe. And he had goosebumps. He had goosebumps all over his arms. And he said, and so I love your campaign. And I'm so glad that you won. And I'm so glad to be able to be a part of it now. And that was a really special moment.
That's special. That's amazing. I remember, if you have a few more minutes, when we were talking on the campaign trail, you shared something that I thought was really powerful. and flies in the face of, I think, the way that our communities are depicted to us on cable news and elsewhere. You talked about the fact that people are joining your campaigns, some people who identify as being Republicans, some people who identify as being political independents, some people who don't have politics at all, but felt really compelled by your campaign. And you're building this really big tent of people that, you know, a lot of the commentators say shouldn't talk to one another, shouldn't find common cause, and they're finding common cause in your campaign. I just love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, it's it's been really amazing, and I mean, I'm a coalition builder by temperament. I mean, Mo, we worked together on the Green New Deal, and we were doing a lot of building coalitions with people who did not see eye to eye and had very strong disagreements, but we were trying to build an agenda together, which ultimately did a lot to shape the Build Back Better agenda and really the whole Biden administration, and deliver a lot for districts around the country. So I've got experience with that, but the data centers issue was one that really just started to stand out because I was sitting alongside other people in these town meetings where people are speaking out against the data centers. And it was just very clear that some of them, were Democrats, lifetime environmentalists in some case on the Democratic side of the aisle. There were people who were also, dyed in the wool MAGA voters, anti-vaxxers. I mean, some of the local leaders who are also supporting me are people who, kind of cut their teeth in public life as like anti-vaxxers in like 2020 and 21. Certainly don't agree with them about a lot of things, but we were finding common cause around the data centers. And then the thing that was really special to me is that the folks in those fights, they understand how special it is and how precious it is that this is a place where people are finding common interests across the political spectrum. And they're very protective of the local groups. They really work to keep partisanship out of it. And they say, this is about everybody who is against data centers. And they moderate the groups, to keep all that other stuff out of it. And then they come around and they say, well, many of them will support me. And they don't see that as contradictory because it's like, what I'm talking about here is not partisan. They don't support me because I'm partisan. They support me because I'm on the cause and I'm on the team to stop the data centers. And so I think that people see that we are just so divided by these labels, by the polarization in our politics, by the national media narratives, which reduce us all to a 1 or 2 word label, and then the opportunity to just be in a space and rub shoulders and find common cause with people who are Republicans or Democrats or don't know what to call themselves. People regard it as precious. And so I think that there's a real opportunity. People ask me, is this just a single issue that's bringing people together? Or is this an invitation to a different kind of politics that can last? And I say, it entirely depends on what we do next. It entirely depends on what we do next. Because we have the opportunity here to build on these common values. We want self-determination for the future of our communities. We don't want to be bullied by big corporations. We want to be able to make our own choices. And we believe in our land and our water and our people, and we want the best for our communities. We've got to build on that. And we got to decide, okay, no data centers, but what is it that we do want to build?
Will, this is why we are so proud that you are a Working Families Party endorsed candidate. We're so proud that you're a WFP champion, and we're really excited to get to work to make sure that you win in November and that together this movement flips Michigan's 7th District in November. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are going to move on now to hear from our next candidate. I'm not sure our next guest needs any introduction. Billionaire super PACs spent more than $60 million to defeat Abdul El-Sayed in the Michigan Senate Democratic primary. And he won, our movement won, in what is one of the most exciting victories of this primary cycle. So without any further introduction, the Democratic nominee for the state of Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed. Hey, Abdul, how you doing?
Hi, Amira. Hi, Mo. Great to be with you guys.
Brother, it's good to hear your voice.
It's an honor to be here and grateful for all your support and all the work. And it's great to hear our brother Will. Looking forward to hearing from my brother Donovan. It really was just an amazing night for working people up and down the state, and just really, really honored to get to carry this moment. And let's go win this thing and win the future.
Absolutely. So when they called the race on Wednesday morning, who was the first person you called?
So I was with my wife, and I just gave her a really, really big hug and a sigh of relief.
Mm,
Um, in our tradition, you thank the people who supported you. Thank God for the opportunity. I called my mom, um, and then it was a whirlwind, right? Because we had hoped, you guys were there. We'd hoped that we were going to get the victory that night, and we are going to be able to give a victory speech, etc. And didn't work out that way. So there's just a lot of logistics to go and build out a press conference and talk about what this meant. I'd also just have to say I was grateful for the call I received from the congresswoman whom I ran against, Haley Stevens. She was gracious, and I'm really grateful that we've been able to come together for the sake of our party, and more importantly, for the sake of the future we want to build, to beat Mike Rogers and stand up against Trumpism. So it was a whole whirlwind of phone calls, I'll be honest. And that is a morning that is going to live in my mind for the rest of my life.
absolutely.
Abdul, anytime you turn on the news right now, everyone is talking about your race. Everyone is talking about this victory, and everybody is talking about the road to November. Everyone wants to be an armchair pundit right now on this race. People have a lot of opinions on whether or not you can beat Mike Rogers in November. What do you say to the naysayers who are saying that you can't beat him?
Watch us work. It's not just me, it's a movement of people we've brought together from all of the different reaches of our state around the idea that we can get money out of politics, put money back in pockets, and pass Medicare for all. And, our movement was not supposed to beat $60 million of outside spending. We weren't supposed to be able to beat the establishment of the party, both in DC and Michigan. We weren't supposed to be able to do this. And it was people coming together in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, believing in a politics that is bigger than what Donald Trump wants it to be, bigger than what Mike Rogers wants it to be, bigger than what the corporate donors and AIPAC wanted to be. So, second guess us at your own peril if you're Mike Rogers and Donald Trump. I'll also say this: if you're a Democrat and you're worried, we don't have time for worry, we have time for work. So if you're concerned that we can't pull this off, then there are plenty of opportunities to make phone calls, knock doors, make a little donation to the campaign, and let's go win this thing. And the thing I'll just tell folks is that this campaign was never about one seat. It was always about the future that we need and deserve in Michigan. So this campaign doesn't end in November. It just gets started, because I'm looking forward to working alongside you and working alongside Will and Donovan to actually pass the legislation that this is about. Getting money out of politics and standing up to Citizens United, passing the PRO Act to stand with unions, taxing billionaires their wealth, ending unconditional foreign military aid to foreign governments, and passing Medicare for all. Like, that's the fight. So let's roll our sleeves up, get the work done, lock arms together, reach beyond the differences they tell us we can't breach to build something that's greater than some of its parts. And I'm just grateful to be able to be a part of this with so many like-minded folks who believe in the best of what our politics can be.
And Abdul, it seems almost standard whenever you get an interview on the national news that they seem to always focus on international politics, national politics, all of these big questions about the direction or the soul of the country, the soul of the Democratic Party. But I want to just focus on Michigan for a minute. And I'm somebody who I've lived a lot of places, but I decided to return to my hometown and organize in my hometown. So what is it about Michigan that made you want to settle down and set some roots and raise a family in Michigan? And what do you think people get wrong about the state?
born and raised in this incredible state. My life is not possible outside of Michigan, right? I was raised by my Egyptian immigrant father who came to Michigan to design cars. And my stepmom, Jackie, who's a daughter of the American Revolution, and they met designing cars. And there's this incredible combination of grit and earnestness that Michiganders bring. And I love that about our people. Like we're willing to work harder than anybody. And we give our best and we expect everybody else's best. And there's no better place to raise my two little girls, ethnically half Egyptian, ethnically half Indian, like their mom 100% American, than Michigan, a place that raised me. And I also, there's this thing that people think, oh, well, Michigan could never vote for a guy named Abdul El-Sayed. Well, I've been Abdul in Michigan my whole life. But for some time in grad school, and a couple of years when I was a kid. And all I've ever known from Michigan is that Michiganders are open-minded and they're big-hearted. They're less interested in how you pray than they're interested in what you pray for. And we all pray or hope for the same things. We want to know that we're going to be able to live our lives with the people we love without having to worry about whether we get sick or whether or not we can afford a dignified life. We all want to have community together. We all want to breathe clean air and drink clean water. So it's that earnestness and that grit, that ability to bring people together to build something that's greater than the sum of its parts. And that's Michigan. So when people say, oh, he can't win, I always point back and be like, you don't know Michigan like I know Michigan. They're not indicting me because of my name. They're indicting Michiganders. And, that's the thing that bothers me the most is like, you're not gonna stand there and say lies about Michiganders who are people who are bigger than people are giving us credit for. So just really grateful to be from this place, to be of this place, and God willing to get to represent this place.
Abdul, when you talk about that as the daughter of immigrant parents, it really resonates with me. I think it resonates with so many of us. One thing that I think a lot of people don't know about your campaign is that you have been pounding the pavement across Michigan, meeting with folks for more than a year. I think the last count I heard was that you had done 520 events. Is that right? Somewhere in that ballpark. In just over a year. And you have talked to so many working people across the state. And it's been amazing to see when I've been out on the campaign trail with you, the excitement and the energy from folks who haven't been involved in politics before, for folks who might not have been Democratic voters before, has been really, really exciting. I want to ask you a question I also asked Will. Is there a conversation with a voter on the campaign trail, any experience with a voter that really is going to stick with you from this primary cycle?
There are two. One that breaks my soul, and the other one that just reminds me just how perceptive most folks are. I met a mom who lost her daughter to pediatric cancer, and you shouldn't have to have that kind of insult to the injury of losing your child. That is a pain that is unnameable. And, when I fight for Medicare for all, I'm fighting for that mom and that daughter. And, she was up in the Sioux. She was a member of the Bay Mills tribe. And, you think about our treaty right responsibilities, but then you think about the responsibility of everybody that we have to offer healthcare, quality healthcare to everybody, and just how far short we've fallen in the richest, most powerful country in the world, because we're more interested in the ability of a CEO to make millions of dollars in the insurance industry than we are interested in the ability of the millions of people in this country to have the healthcare that they need and deserve. And then, there was this woman, I was in mid-Michigan, actually, in Mills District. She pulled me aside and said, I was unconvinced about you. I didn't think you could win, your name, all of it. But then I said, I'm going to come and see him. And she's like, I realized who you are. I was like, okay. She's like, you're the family dog. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you're like the family dog. I was like, okay. Okay. Can you explain? She's like, yes. Like, I'm convinced that if the kids wanted to ride on your back, you'd let them ride on your back all day. And I'm convinced if an intruder came into our home that you would maul their face off. I was like, ma'am, you see me. You know exactly who I am. You've understood me. And so I think there's when you think about what we want in our politics, we want to be able to come together and we want to be able to select our leaders who are going to care for the things that we shouldn't have to care about, which is the ability to have the healthcare when you need it. And we want them both to be able to show up and take care of our most vulnerable while also standing up against those who try to do us harm. And, I never expected that we'd have a reality TV star who is the epitome of megalomania as president twice. But you think about what he has done and the kind of politics he's wrought upon us, and you think about what we want out of our politics, there's so much that we have to stand up for and so much that we have to stand up against at the same time. And our hope is that together we can build a movement around what that looks like to protect the things that are the most vulnerable, the most important to us. And those two people, are among so many others, are they're never going to leave me. And I hope that as I think about what it means, in year 5 of a Senate term, I hope that they are always the folks that I'm thinking about in my mind as we're out there fighting for Michiganders in DC.
Those were very, very profound stories. One, deeply moving, and it cuts at the core of why we do these politics in order to make sure that precious life is protected. And in the richest country, like you said, in the history of the world, we could have something as simple as healthcare when we need it. And then this other story, the family dog story, one of the core ideas I hear about that is loyalty to the family, right? And we could use more leaders like that. And that's why we're so honored to support and endorse you. And we know you have a busy campaign schedule, brother. So we just want to thank you for joining the live stream and for talking to the WFP faithful about the road ahead.
Well, I'm so grateful for your support. So grateful for WFP and the work that you all are doing. Really looking forward to stumping together. We've got 85 days left to work. Mike Rogers is an anathema to government. He is everything that we oppose. He's a sock puppet, ready to be used as a mouthpiece for any corporation or Donald Trump who's willing to put their hand inside him to animate him. So beating him is critical to us. Standing up to Trump is critical to us, but it's not just about what you oppose. It's about what you fight for. We want to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. We have the opportunity to do that work, and all paths run through Michigan. So looking forward to continue to work alongside you.
All right, absolutely. See you out there, brother.
See you guys.
That was Abdul El-Sayed, our brother candidate for Senate in Michigan. And, before we go on, we know that elections are not cheap. We just talked about the record amount, more than $60 million spent against Abdul during his primary. And we know that APAC, AI, crypto, the farmer lobby, all those folks are going to spend a lot more in order to defeat this movement. I don't think we've seen anything yet. So what we need to do is organize, right? Like, those groups are in some ways membership groups for those corporate lobbies. Well, at the Working Families Party, we are building a membership group for the working class of all races everywhere around the country. And we need to organize our time, our effort, and some of our money. And so if you want an unbought leader in the Senate, it's going to take all of us doing our part. So many hands make light work. So we're asking you to take out your phone. So right now, take your phone out. I'll wait. I'll give you a few seconds. If your phone is in the corner of the bed or the sofa, go ahead, grab it. Okay, wave it to the person around you. It's okay. You could be a little nutty here. Now, I want you to text the word Michigan to the number 30403. And I want you to do it now. Again, text the word Michigan, go into the text app, text the word Michigan to the number 30403. When you do that, I'll just wait for a second. Go ahead and do it. Okay, so you should have gotten a link to split a donation between Abdul, Will, and Donovan. And make sure that we can fight the fight that we need to fight all the way in November by clicking on that link and giving whatever you can to our grassroots candidates, right? They have organized money, we have organized people, and a little bit of our donations together could go a long way in order to take this people-powered movement all the way to the finish line in November.
Okay, so we have one more guest who unfortunately was supposed to be with us live. And a few hours ago, he got in touch and he sent us a video because his flight was delayed. But our last guest is Donovan McKinney. And Donovan is a strong Working Families Party champion. The WFP supported his first runs for office to the Michigan State Legislature. And together we challenged a corporate Democrat named Shri Thanadar for Michigan's 13th district. And Donovan won. And we didn't know if we were going to win this race because Shri Thanadar has a lot of money. And the crypto PACs and other corporate PACs put a ton of money into flipping this seat. And last Tuesday, Donovan won and is going to be heading to Congress in January. So I want to cue up this video that he sent for all of you while in the airport waiting for his delayed flight earlier today.
Hey everybody, Donovan McKinney, state representative and your new Democratic nominee for Congress in Michigan's mighty 13th district. I'm at the airport, my flight got delayed, so you're probably viewing this video and I'm not on the call or the Zoom tonight, but just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Working Families Party, thank you to our whole entire coalition, because organized people beat organized money every single time, and we show the rest of the country what Michigan can do. Now we have to do it again. We have to do it again for Will Lawrence, who's running for Congress in Michigan's 7th District, as well as Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, who's running for the U.S. Senate. We need everybody to really all hands on deck. We need you all to get involved. We got to knock on these doors, make these phone calls, raise this money, because when we come together, anything is possible. I'm just so excited for the future because we are going to get progressives elected across the board into the United States Congress and the Senate, and we're going to work on your behalf. So wish I could be there tonight, but stay tuned. We got more to come, but let's go fight and win. God bless. Take care. Peace.
So yeah, I want you all to send some love to our brother Donovan in the chat. He's run an incredible campaign. When you are in Detroit with Donovan, you walk down any street in Donovan, Mo knows, we were doing it together. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. Everybody respects him. Everybody trusts him. It is so exciting that we are going to send him true WFP champion through and through to Congress this January. And you can see from what he said to us, he's not done. He is ready to get to work to help elect Will, help elect Abdul, help elect other WFP champions across this country who are in swing states, swing districts, toss-up districts, red to blue districts. So we are coming to the close of our program. And I want to echo what Maurice asked you a little earlier. This is the most important part of the program. I know that all of y'all listening, you are interested in how you help us get to work, how you help make sure that we send Abdul to the United States Senate, that we send Will to Congress from Michigan's 7th District. And we are going to need people power if we have a chance at defeating AIPAC and crypto and big tech super PACs. They are getting ready to spend millions of dollars to defeat our candidates. They are already announcing it. In Abdul's Senate race, as you heard from him, we had to face a record amount of spending from corporate super PACs, over $60 million. That has never happened at that level in a Senate primary before. We have to show them that organized people can beat organized money again. So, going to reiterate what Maurice just asked you. If you didn't already, can you take out your phones now and text Michigan to 30403. Again, if you haven't done it, I'm going to give you a second. Take out your phones. I want you to text the number 30403, and you're going to text the word Michigan. And once you get a follow-up text, we are asking you to pitch in whatever you can, whether that's $5, whether that's $10, whether you got some extra cash and you can do 50 or 100 or more to make sure that Abdul, Will, and Donovan can win in November. Your donation is going to be split between these three candidates. Yo, Maurice, have you given yet?
Listen, I put my money where my mouth is.
Hell
I've
yeah.
given, and listen, we all need to give. If you haven't given already, I want you to understand that every single donation truly matters, right? It is the people and people power and the many over the money. But the many need to come together with our time, with our 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 50, 100 if you have it. When you bring that together with the people power, we could defeat 60, 50, $40 million. How do I know? Because we just did it and we could do it again.
Just to add a little more, I think sometimes in politics, when you don't work in politics, it's hard to understand why that money is so important. It's really important for a couple of reasons. One, this is what allows these campaigns to have the resources to get out the vote, to get out their messaging across the state, across the district. It's also really important because the other side, the opposition, is constantly looking at how much money these campaigns have. And that's a part of how they decide how much money they are going to spend. And we need to show them from day one, from the get-go, week one of this general election campaign for Abdul, for Will, and for Donovan, that they have the resources to win in November. So if you've given, drop an emoji in the chat. We want to see who's given. Thank you so much for opening up your wallets. We know times are tough. They are tough for all of us as working class folks. Thank you so much for being willing to give to these candidates. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This was a blast. I had a blast. It was so good to be in conversation and community, Maurice, with you and with Abdul and Donovan and Will. Please stay plugged in to the Working Families Party. We are going to have a ton of opportunities to get involved heading into November, whether that's in Michigan, in this critical swing state, or in other states across the country. We have a whole list of must-win elections, and we are going to need your help. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.